Welcome to the council meeting recap. We're here today with our mayor, Art Minor. And Mayor, we had a pretty short evening on Monday evening of this week.
We did, one of our shortest.
Yeah, and we kicked off the meeting or the evening with a Crime Control and Prevention District budget meeting. And that meeting was simply to have that board consider recommendation of the fiscal year 2022 budget to the city council for adoption later on. And then we moved into the regular meeting at 6:30 as a result of the cancellation of our typical workshop that we have. And I know that there were a few things you wanted to highlight with our residents that occurred at the council meeting. So,
Yes, ma'am. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. We started off the meeting with our roll call. Place 3, Councilwoman Downey, off on vacation, so she was not there. We moved into announcements. The rec department is sponsoring the Shark Week over at the splash pad. Go to their Facebook page for all the details on that. I announced that Waffle House opened up this week over on Ruth Snow. So shop small, take care of the Watauga businesses, and go visit them if you can. The other announcement I had is one that I didn't want to make. Our city manager will be leaving us. September 2nd will be her last day physically here in the city, and September 10th will be her last day. So I've got my calendar countdown, and there's not a day goes by I don't come in and try to convince her to stay. So she'll be missed. I'm not going to go any further into that. Save that for the last day when my attempts to keep you here have failed, if they've failed. So after that, we moved into presentations. We did a presentation as Park and Recreation Month for the city of Watauga. I did a proclamation for that, and let's take this opportunity again to give a pat on the back to our recreation center and all their staff, everything that they've done, and again mention the numerous positive comments that we've had about the splash pad. It's packed every day.
and also, Mayor, I know you have stated many times about the importance of our parks maintenance crews.
Yes.
They keep things working behind the scenes, such as the splash pad. And I know that you have tremendous appreciation for that staff as well, having served on the Park Development Corporation Board for many years. So.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. They do a great job. Next, we went into public comment. We didn't have anybody show up, but we did have several people write in. Some of their topics that they wanted to just have read in were about bulk services, which we are well aware is a hot topic right now. There was a question about mosquito spraying, comments about a possible homestead exemption.
So, Mr. Mayor, the homestead exemption, we have received a lot of inquiries from residents. They're wanting the council to consider adding a homestead exemption for individuals that aren't just over the age of 65, I think. And a few of them that have emailed the council that were forwarded to me, I responded directly to them. But for those who haven't received my response, we will be discussing that particular topic with the city council during our budget workshop meetings coming up in the month of August. So just if you make note of that, you can hear the discussion. And if you'd like to come out and participate and provide public testimony regarding that topic, you're certainly welcome to do so. I just encourage you to watch the city's website for the posting of those workshop agendas.
All right, thank you for that. One other item that was mentioned on the public comment concerned mailboxes on Whitley Road, and I know you want to say something about that because I've received correspondence on it, and I know there have been several social media posts pertaining to that, and I know you'd like to address that.
Yeah, sure. So in speaking with our Public Works Director, Paul Hackelman, he explained in great detail the situation surrounding those residents receiving a mailbox. But first, I really would like to caution people, in feeling as though the residents are receiving that, because as most people know, we just tend to forget that the mailboxes actually belong to the federal government, not to the individuals that receive their mail in those boxes. But the reason why the mailboxes were a part of the project is that the residents along the roadway that's being constructed, and keep in mind that these roadways are at a cost of several $1 million, and we're going to enhance the roadway, then certainly it makes sense to go ahead, since the city is required anytime that we take something out, because we were expanding the roadway, that when we replace it, we have to replace it of similar or greater value than what it was when we removed it as a result of widening that road. And so considering the low cost associated with it and the benefit that the city gets in terms of beautification along that new corridor, we opted to replace it with something of better condition. And I think all the residents that drive along Whitley Road will agree with myself and the mayor that it certainly has a lot better aesthetic feel along Whitley Road. And as we move into the other phases, you will see the same thing occur in those phases as well.
I agree. It looks a whole lot better. And just so everybody knows, the residents had the option. They did not have to go with that style mailbox. They could have gone back. Some of the other construction going on in other areas of the city, those residents have had an option. Some have chosen to go back to their old mailbox. So just try to clarify that for everybody, that it's not like the city has just picked one area and said, let's put new mailboxes in.
Yeah, and then we also discussed with Paul earlier, just about the inconvenience that those residents along the roadways experience when they're under construction like that. So to him and to myself, and I think the mayor concurs, that it's really kind of one of those least we can do type situations for the inconvenience that they experience.
Yeah, when my street gets repaired, I would appreciate very much that the city put things back, as you say, equal or better value. And I think it works out best. So, all right. Next, after that, we moved on to public testimony, and only had one person request comments had to be read into the record, and that was in pertaining to item number 3. Nope, I'm sorry, that's the consent agenda. It had to do with an RFP for legal services.
That is actually item number 3, sir. You are correct. It's just under the action items.
Yep. So I read that into the record. She had some comments to make. And on that.
So, Mr. Mayor, when a citizen writes in and you read those comments into the record, just so the citizens know, those do get made a part of the meeting minutes. So if anybody wants to see a copy of those written comments, they can do one of two things. They can pull the meeting minutes. Those will be posted online after the minutes are approved by the council, and typically that's done at the following council meeting. So for Monday night's minutes, they should be available following the August meeting online on the city's website. But if you don't want to wait for that to be posted, you can do an open records request and request a copy of those written comments that were submitted.
Or watch the meeting on video. As she said, I've read them into the record. And along those lines, just so everybody knows, effective September 1st, the governor said that we will go back to the way it was with open meetings. We'll no longer be allowed to write in and have comments read into the record. If you want to speak with council or be a part of the meeting, you will have to physically show up.
And what about the virtual meeting, sir? Was that addressed to you by the governor?
Yes, that will go away also. We'll basically go back to pre-COVID requirements. Again, that's the governor that has done that, and that's effective September 1st. All right, after that, we moved into consent agenda. Too many pages here. And not really any big items on that. We approved previous minutes. Interlocal agreement for striping of a road, crime control proposed budget, and set a public hearing date. So that was it for consent agenda.
On that public hearing date, just for the public, that will be scheduled for August the 9th at 6:30 in council chambers. And then the budget adoption is scheduled for August the 23rd of 2021. And this is the budget for the Watauga Crime Control and Prevention District.
And as with all the budget meetings that are going to be going on, we strongly encourage citizens to be involved. Come to the workshops, come to the public hearings. Tell us what your thoughts are. All right, next was action items. Item number 1 is what made the meeting longer than it should have been. It was to discuss and consider legislative amendments to update and revise Chapter 2 of our Code of Ordinances. I make the comment periodically of we don't move at the speed of UPS, we move at the speed of government. And this was just a prime example of what TOMA and our restrictions as a council are. This is the only opportunity we have to discuss these amongst ourselves. So as mundane and drawn out and uncoordinated as it may look, it is the only opportunity we have to do that. So we muddled along through that and then decided to take a break. We're going to put some on the next agenda and then break it up and put some onto the following agenda to try to speed things up.
And just so the citizens are aware, Chapter 2 consists of a lot of topics that don't really relate to one another, such as board composition, requirements for attendance of boards, training for boards. It also includes ethics, policy requirements for board members, elected officials, employees. It included some items from the police department related to different activities where they seize property. It also had some records retention. It just had really a hodgepodge of fees from various departments of the city. So there was just a lot of different topics that the council would have had to really go through and cover in one sitting. And sometimes just trying to bounce from one topic to the other and refocus your attention to when you're switching gears like that. It can be difficult, especially when it's in the evening, you've had a long day. And so the mayor's right. I think it'll be better served if we break that up into those bigger chunks or smaller chunks so that the council can take them on one item or one topic at a time. So we will be doing that.
Yep. Yeah, and if you watched any of it, you saw one item may affect 6 or 7 or any number of other ordinances and stuff. So it does get complicated. Okay, next was item number 2, action to approve ground maintenance to Brightview Landscape Services. I think it's a good move. It's going to save the city some money. Is there anything you'd like to say about that?
Yeah, it's certainly less expensive to outsource this to the company Brightview rather than add back the 8 positions that have been removed over the last, I'd say probably 8 years?
Probably about like that. We started that with just the PDC outsourcing that.
Yeah. So it certainly, when we did the numbers, proved to be less expensive to just outsource it than bring those positions back. And so no one lost their job because all those positions, there were only 2 that are in the current budget that we moved to unfunded status after the position was vacated by the employee at their own choosing. The other positions came from prior years when they were eliminated. So if we were to bring those back, there would be a cost associated with that. And if the staff were to take on these areas that Brightview is going to be covering for us, we would definitely have to add staff back to do that.
Yeah, as you said, in fact, that was one of the questions the council asked about that was how many people it was replacing. And it's a total of 8. So it is a cost savings. Another thing that added to this is we can't get help. The federal government has made it more advantageous to stay at home. And until we can rectify that, getting people to come in and work, because we normally have 2 part-time positions that we try to fill during the summer to help some of the people out in summer employment, and we haven't been able to get those. So lots of different issues there.
We encourage anybody who's interested. We do have several vacancies. We encourage you to visit the city's website, make out an application, or encourage someone that you know that might be seeking employment to do so. Check out those opportunities, or you can contact the city's Human Resources Department.
All right, and then the last item was discuss and consider action to authorize the Finance Department to conduct a request for proposal or alternative procurement method considered appropriate for legal services. And this is just nothing other than, I think Mr. Taylor, Councilmember Taylor, said it best, is it's no different than when he has to renew his insurance to go out and see what the best pricing is. And that's all that is. We're going to get some pricing and then go from there. Really short topic. Then we moved into executive session. An item for a potential business coming to Watauga. Still some negotiations going on there, and we recessed out of executive session, or came out of executive session with no action taken at that time. Gave the city manager direction to continue negotiations with that vendor, and that was pretty much it. That sums everything up. I think our recap is longer than any we've done for the shortest meeting we've ever had.
Right. Well, there was some complexity with some of the items, so.
There was.
And we had a lot more citizen input this time, so.
We did.
We covered that too, and we haven't had that from the prior recaps.
I am hoping to get more citizens back into council chambers and be a part of the government.
So Mayor, I guess that wraps it up for this week. I wish you a great Wednesday and rest of the week and weekend, and I know you do the same for the residents watching at home or wherever they may be.
Everybody enjoy it. Come visit our splash pad.
Yes, yes, it is definitely popular.
It is. Everybody have a great week.